What up, y'all? Welcome to the Walkinupsynct podcast. I'm your host, Cat. This is Walkinupsynct. Right now it's quiet. I'm just laying here though. Can't really sleep, so just go live. Maybe some people will come in here or whatever. And also just testing it out to see if the video gets cut once again. Because so far, none of the ones in my apartment got cut. I hear a door opening in the hallway, I think. It's probably Walkinupsynct. But today, though, the wind was like blowing straight at. It's always doing this. But some days more than others, like, or, on windier days, or like, just whatever. Like, sometimes I wonder if it's windy, like, anywhere else except where I'm at. Because the wind targets me, like, insanely intricately. But today it was pretty windy outside. And it was like blowing straight at me, like straight at my face, like straight at me, like I'm walking into it. And it's like they do it to wear me down, I think. Like, just have me walking straight into the winds. Like, it gets really windy at sync moments. So it's like extra exercise to walk home. Like, I don't know. But, like, there's the one time where the wind was, like, coming at me in waves. It was, like, 30 miles an hour wind, and it kept coming at me in waves, synchronized. It was, like, a nuclear blast coming at me, which I've talked about a bunch of times. But and then they blow things around the wind synchronized, like plastic bags, cardboard, plastic cups. Like, there's a video that I did a long time ago on Instagram. I think it's on Instagram, where like a plastic cup comes up onto the curb next to me as I'm walking up the sidewalk. It just like comes across the street, comes up on the curb next to me. And I was like, was that synced? But I was joking back then. But like now I know that it was synced. Like, it always happens like that. Like, things like that always happen. And like leaves will blow out in front of me synced, and like I'll walk by the leaf and a car will honk, or whatever. Like a leaf will blow out in front of me as I get across the street, and then when I walk by it, a car will honk, or some shit like that, or it'll blow away right as I walk by it. Things like that are always happening every day, all the time. And bags float around the wind synced, and pieces of cardboard, and like whatever. Pieces of little cotton ball always come out in front of me synced, like just float out in front of me synced as I walk up to an intersection, things like that. And it's like the only time that I ever see them, like little piece of cotton ball flying through the air. I'll only see them at synced moments usually, or like maybe all the time, but usually. Like, it's always like at an intersection or like whatever, a sync. So I don't know how many targets out there target on the level that I'm targeted at, but I get synced weather, lightning and thunder, wind, rain. It'll start raining synced. It'll start snowing synced. It, like synced babies crying, which I think the babies are being hit with a dew or something to make them cry, and it's fucked up. There was a baby crying synced this morning. When I was sitting outside, there's people walking with a baby and it's crying synced. I get synced animals of all varieties. I get synced insects of all varieties flying around synced, and wasps and bees and shit, and butterflies and flies and gnats and whatever, mosquitoes or whatever the fuck. And then this one time there's a bug inside my apartment, like a couple years ago. It was like, I think it was 2 summers ago, and it was like attacking me. It was like some type of moth, praying mantis looking bug. I don't know what it was, but it was like it has like moth wings, but it wasn't a moth. I don't know what it was, but it was like, or maybe some type of moth. I don't know. A praying mantis attacker moth. But it kept attacking me, and it kept flying out and like flying up in my face and shit, and like it was pressing. It was like he was like trying to fight me or some shit. He wanted me to hit him or something. But then he would like go and hide, and then he would come back out again and be all in my face again. And he kept doing it at sync moments. He would fly out at sync moments and shit, and fly by me at sync moments or whatever. And there's always flies inside of my apartment that'll fly around at sync moments and like land in front of me or on me at a synced moment, or fly up in my face or fly by my ear at a synced moment. There's always bugs synced outside every time I go outside, a bunch of them, and synced birds. And synced squirrels, and synced dogs barking, and synced cats, and synced. But like the birds and the insects and the dogs barking is the most. And then people walking dogs and cars with dogs and with their like dogs sticking their head out the window, or a dog in the back of a truck or whatever. And then sometimes they'll like have a dog off of a leash, and then it'll run at me synced, like it'll run up to me synced. And then they'll be like, "Hey, get back here." And then sometimes I'll be walking by a house, and they'll have a dog outside, like on the leash, like out in front of the house, and it's barking synced. And it's barking at me as I walk by the house, and then they come out of the house right as I walk by, or right as I walk by the corner of the house, or right as I walk up to the intersection right after I pass the house, or whatever. And they come out and they're like, "Hey, stop barking, come inside." It always happens. Like, that happens pretty frequently. It hasn't happened in a while, though, I think. They always do that one. And I don't understand why people do that in general. They're like, "Hey, stop barking." Like the dog understands English. Like, even if they're not a stalker and they're doing that, like, I don't understand why you tell, like, why you're like, "Stop barking." Like, unless your dog actually listens, unless you're like, "Hey," and then they stop. But like, if you have a dog that just keeps barking, like, I don't understand why you like. Like, "Hey, stop barking," and then they just keep yelling at it, like, "Boo." But yeah, it's a lot of sync out here. My refrigerator just turned off synced. And it was right at the moment that this other person just came into the live that's watching the live. I don't know. Are they a sync head? Or did it just sync with them even if they're not a sync head? Or what? Are you a sync head? It was right at that exact moment, though. It was when my refrigerator turned off. Uh, but my light, like I made the video about my light flickering synced a minute ago, but it didn't flicker synced again after the video either. And it wasn't flickering synced on the video either, but it was flickering synced right before that. It stopped when I turned the camera on. It was flickering synced a bunch of times. Like I turned the light on and it's flickering synced a bunch of times. And then I turn the camera on and it stops. But I've caught it before on camera. Go watch my other videos. I got 3,000 of them, so I don't know which one it is. Just binge watch them. You'll find it in like 3 years or something. Go through all my live streams. Like I got like too many videos. But we're back with another Walkinupsynct podcast because, like I said, my refrigerator is synced. The doorway the door in the hallway sounded synced. I don't know if anything else is synced yet since I started this video. It's been quiet before the video too, so it's kind of nice. It's 10:50 p.m. right now on a Sunday night. It's the Walkinupsynct Show podcast. The Truman Show. But yeah, like I said, like I've been hungry lately. I said this on one of my last videos, but I'll say it again. I've been hungry lately. Somebody sent me some money today though, so I'm not hungry anymore right now. But I've been out of money, struggling pointlessly, forced stagnation by the pedophile cult, the satanic government, experimenting on me, keeping me from getting jobs, etc. What was I saying though? Let me think about it. Oh yeah, like I've been hungry lately, so they've like a bunch of stalkers this morning were driving by me, like taking a bite of food as they drive up. Oh yeah, and then that one car that pulled up and he was playing Avenged Sevenfold was like, "Your fucking nightmare." Like he pulled up to the intersection right as that part, like right at that part of the song. Like right when he pulls up to the intersection, it's like, "Your fucking nightmare." So I think it was a directed song lyric thing. But like, yeah, it's like they're taunting me though, like eating food in front of me, like and like they'll pull up to the intersection and take a bite of food at the same time. Like I don't know. It seems like they're like taunting me. And they'll do things like that when I go to the grocery store, like they'll I don't know, man. It just seems like that. Oh shit. Just seems like it, but it's sync though. I think either way, I think they're doing it synced, and they'll like take a drink synced as a and like I walk. I was walking by a car today, and she like takes a bite of food right as I walk by her. And shit, like they'll take a bite of food or take a drink synced, their coffee or whatever they're drinking as they drive by, or they'll put their cigarette in their mouth synced. Or like the video the other day, there's like it was up the same street. I think it was at one block and then at the next block or something. But there's a car that drove by me, and they're both driving the same direction too. But there's a car that drove by me. He's like slapping a pack of cigarettes next to me as he drives by, and he synced. And then the other car is synced, and he's driving by me putting a cigarette in his mouth as he drives by me. They're like a block away from each other or something. And then they like one night or like a few times they like throw a cigarette out of their car next to me on the street next to me as I'm walking up the sidewalk. Or they'll roll their window down or up synced, or they'll stick their arm in or out of the window synced, or they'll touch their nose synced, or they'll scratch their head synced, or they'll put their visor down synced, or they'll put their sunglasses on synced, or whatever. Or they'll honk their horn synced, or they'll turn their music on synced, or turn their music off synced. Or if I'm in a car getting a ride from a stalker, they'll turn the radio up or down synced, or change the channel synced, or hit the turn signal synced, or hit the brake synced. Yep, synced. So this is the Walkinupsynct podcast. Nobody's in here right now. We're at 17 minutes. Keep the show rolling a little longer. See if the video's cut. Talk about more Walkinupsynct things. There's a bunch of sirens today. There's a bunch of loud cars as usual. There's a bunch of birds as usual. The wind was sinking a bunch of times and blowing really hard. Synced. There's a bunch of sync. This is Walkinupsynct. A bunch of times lately when I look out my window and do the Walkinupsynct podcast, there'll be bugs flying in my face in the window. Like at a synced moment. A bird flew straight at my face the other day, like it was gonna run into me. Sometimes bugs will do that. Sometimes bugs will actually hit me in the face or hit me in the chest or whatever at a sync moment. Or they'll land on me synced, like I said. It's just a lot of sync. Sprinklers turn on sync. Lights turn on sync. There was a light on a building that turned on as a truck drove in front of me on my last video, but I didn't catch it on camera. But right as the truck drove in front of me, the light turned on. It was Walkinupsynct. Lights on buildings turn on sync. Lights in parking lots turn on and off sync. Like only certain lights though, usually. But like there's a certain light in the parking lot that does it all the time. There's a certain light in another parking lot that does it all the time. There's certain lights on buildings that do it all the time. I've never seen the one on Tasty Treat do it until tonight. That was the first time I saw that, but it was synced. The street lights, certain street lights do it all the time, but I don't know if they changed all of them to LEDs now, but the ones that they did don't do it anymore. So, but I have older videos where they did it all the time, and I would walk around the intersection in circles and keep doing it over and over. And the stoplights sync all the time. I hear an engine sound outside. He's synced. It's probably too quiet for the microphone to hear the. He's a Walkinupsynct. So, what else haven't I mentioned yet on this video? I could talk about all the cars that sync on me, the school buses and mail trucks, etc. The long list of things that sync on me every time I see one, but I've already talked about it. I don't know. There's things that I haven't talked about, but just cuz, but just things that I don't want to talk about on YouTube, but I don't know. Like, what haven't I mentioned yet? I don't know. It's a lot of Walkinupsynct though. And it's a lot of things that I forget and then I remember later. Like a bunch of shit happened today that I probably won't remember until like tomorrow. And I'll be like, oh yeah, that happened too. Gotta make a new Walkinupsynct podcast episode and talk about it tomorrow. So stay tuned. There'll be other things that happen tomorrow that I'll be talking about and whatever. And they'll be doing things as I'm talking about things that already happened. And I'll be talking about that as I'm talking about them, and then I'll forget, and then I'll remember again on the next video. Not that I have to make all these videos, but whatever. It's the Walkinupsynct podcast. Just trying to make this the biggest podcast on earth. So make a bunch of episodes, build up a fan base. Right now there's 0 people in here watching, but for the people in the future, if this video doesn't get cut, if this part of the video isn't cut, and if the video doesn't get cut, then maybe my millions of followers in the future will watch this. Go dig in the archives of the Walkinupsynct podcast. It's gonna be bigger than the Joe Rogan podcast. I'm gonna have Joe Rogan on as a guest. I'm gonna and whoever else, whatever other big podcasters. What's the biggest podcast out there? I don't know. I listen to the Joe Rogan podcast sometimes, even though I know he's a shill. But there's some interesting guests on there and like interesting stuff on there. I gotta learn things off of it sometimes. But I know it's a bunch of mind control on there too and shit. And he's like gaslighting and being a shill and shit. But and like Alex Jones is Bill Hicks. Do you think about Alex Jones as Bill Hicks, and like Bill Hicks is a stand-up comedian, and Joe Rogan is friends with Alex Jones? Uh, it's like I listen to Quentin Tarantino. Like I like listening to Quentin Tarantino talk about movies. I like Quentin Tarantino's movies, but like I know he's probably a pedophile. You know, Harvey Weinstein and shit. And he like sticks up for, like, there's an interview with Quentin Tarantino where he's like defending uh what's the director's name? The pedophile director, movie director. I forget his name. He's like defending him on an interview though, defending a pedophile. And he's like, she wanted it or whatever. But like, I still watch his movies though, and I still like, I don't know. like, I can still learn stuff about filmmaking from Quentin Tarantino, but not like him as a person at the same time. I hear an engine sound outside the sink, and I think my refrigerator clicked synced a minute ago. You can probably hear it clicking. And you might be able to hear that engine sound that just went off. Did you hear it? They're just doing quiet engine sounds. And I think I heard my neighbor making quiet sounds a minute ago. They're just doing quiet things. I think I hear my neighbor making quiet sounds, like through the walls. But I haven't seen any, or no, I did see some sink bats like a month ago or 2 months ago or whatever. When I went out to catch the guy that I caught recently on Creep Busters, finally, I went out to catch him twice before that, and the second time, like, he didn't show up, and the second time, like, it was at Goodwill. I was trying to get him to meet me inside the Goodwill, and he's like, meet me out back in the parking lot, like the apartment parking lot behind the Goodwill. And I'm like, you can't come in here. And then he like stops texting me. So then I go out there and like walk by that parking lot a few times. I don't see anybody out there. But like when I walked out there, like across the street, there's these sink bats flying over me. Right when I get across the street, they're coming up and they're like flying right over my head. Like 2 bats, I think. So that was the only time this year so far I've seen sink bats. But there would be sink bats flying over me synced. Like one flew in my window synced when I was looking out my window at night. Like flew up in my face in the window. Or they'll be like going synced. That wasn't a good bat sound, but they'll be doing the bat sound synced. And like one night I was delivering for Domino's and I come out of this apartment building. There's a bat like flying like right over me as I come out of the apartment building. And it was like flying over me when I went in the apartment building, and it seemed like it was sinking on me. I think it was. But there's definitely been a lot of times where they definitely are. Usually are, or like always are. So like I don't know what else to talk about right now. I think I already said this, but I was seeing a bunch of people in wheelchairs like a week ago. Like I kept seeing it like a couple days in a row or something. I kept seeing a bunch of people like in electric wheelchairs sinking on me, like at different times throughout the day. I'd see someone sinking on me with electric wheelchair. And it was like 2 days in a row or something, or 3 days in a row or whatever. So they just do all types of weird shit like that. Or I'll just see, like I said on one of my last videos, I saw motorcycles sinking with bicycles for a while. And then I was also like, one time I was seeing skateboards sinking with bicycles. Like I'll walk up to an intersection and it'll be a skateboard coming up to it on one side of it and a bicycle coming up to it on the other side of it at the same time I walk up to it, or a skateboard and a bicycle syncing with each other, or a skateboard at one side of the street and a bicycle at the other side of the street, or whatever, things like that. And I kept seeing it repetitively. I see a skateboard and a bike sync with each other. And then maybe one, like I think one time one of them had a red shirt, the other one had a blue shirt, and I'll always see like a person with a red shirt and a person with a blue shirt syncing with each other, or just two people together and one of them's got a red shirt, one of them's got a blue shirt. All the time, I'll see that, people with red shirts and blue shirts. But I've seen like a bike and a skateboard sync with each other for like, I don't remember how long, like a week or something or whatever. I kept seeing it like every day, I think, or some shit like that. I kept seeing it repetitively for a while. They just do weird shit like that. They just do things repetitively and then stop doing it and then whatever. And then maybe I'll see a bike sync with a skateboard tomorrow because I'm talking about it right now. I don't know, but that's a 34-minute video. So Walkinupsynct podcast. My refrigerator's turning on right now because I'm about to end the video. But I'm about to end the video, so let's see if it's cut. 34-minute Walkinupsynct podcast. We